Hello and welcome to the Captain's Table, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul Berserker01 Batman Shelley, your humble host and space bartender at the AstroPub, your space bar at the end of the universe. My voice is going to be a little shot today because I've been doing a lot of talking. Welcome to this is the Captain's Table. The Captain's Table is a podcast. It's on its 8th season. Where I bring people from all over the Star Citizen universe to talk about Star Citizen. From content creators, org leaders, fans. Generally speaking, if people are interested in Star Citizen, I'd love to hear them. I tend to want to have somebody who, does content or runs groups or does something in Star Citizen to be able to have like that sort of, hey, this person has these other connections and other things with the game. But if you're interested to hopping on, I always am looking for new people to come on and talk. Be it a machinima maker, a streamer, a YouTuber, a cosplayer, whatever. A Star Citizen super nerd, a la Radar Ranger, those sorts of things. So, but today is a special day because it is the beginning of IAE. Technically, it began yesterday, but here it is November 23rd. 2024. So this is the beginning of IAE 2954. And there's some new stuff they've added. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. But before we do, let's introduce the cast we have today. So starting with Mr. Radar Ranger, who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen and where can they find you?
Well, I am, as Paul said, the token Uber nerd for tonight. I am the CEO of a company called MyRadar. We make a popular weather app here in the States. But the Star Citizen connection there is that way back in 2017, we did this collaboration with CIG that allowed you to browse the maps of the planets in our app. So we worked with them and worked some voodoo and some wizardry. So you actually go in and browse. I think it was just the moons or something like that originally. It was
the Music Crusader.
Yella. Yeah. If you want to see, I presented at this 2017 Star Citizen CitizenCon talk. If you want to go check out YouTube, I'm in there after Ian's talk towards the end on the planetary tech. So that's the connection. That was really a lot of fun. I would love to do that again. And then we also, I have to mention this because Darge keeps reminding me, we also launched a satellite into orbit in 2019 that had the Star Citizen logo on it. So I absolutely have my Star Citizen nerd cred, and that's why I'm here. You can find me on Blue Sky. I'm there under agreen.bsky.social, I think it is.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Then I'll also make that announcement after the introductions about some stuff that's going to be changing in the future. And then we have a new face. Some of you may know them, but Cepheus, who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen, and where can they find you?
Hi, I'm Cepheus. I am a real-life airline pilot, huge Star Citizen nerd, lore aficionado that I've learned most of my stuff from AstroPub, honestly. And I'm a co-leader of a growing org of about 60 to 70 people called Northern Star. And I stream on Twitch, and you can find me at Cepheus_TV. And I'm happy to be here.
It's fun fact. I think Radar, you said you started MyRadar for pilots, right?
Sort of. It started off as an aviation flight tracking website way back in the day in like 2008 or something. Or no, 2000. And it morphed into the weather app that it is today. But I'm a pilot as well. See, it's very cool that you're...
Oh,
I didn't realize you were a pilot. Just private instrument, not commercial or anything like that. But yeah, we can definitely geek out.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
So you said you do commercial piloting?
Yep, I'm an airline pilot at a regional.
Okay, so do you have the voice down?
Sometimes I do it as a meme. It's very entertaining. There is a reason why people do that. Actually, in old airplanes, if you didn't keep talking, the PA would cut you off and you'd have to hit the button again.
Oh,
so they actually did that for a reason. Our airplanes don't do that. It's just a push to talk switch.
Yeah.
But some pilots have kept the habit, and it's just a meme at this point for us. But
nice.
It's very funny.
I'm gonna ask the question because it's gonna come up in the chat eventually. Are you looking forward to the Genesis?
Yes, incredibly. I have no idea when it's going to come, and I really hope that it doesn't. I hope it's more interesting than just my job in space.
Okay.
Because being a pilot has ruined flight sims for me. and I play Star Citizen mainly because I can't fly spaceships in real life.
Yeah.
So if it's just airliner but in real life, then that would kind of suck. If they make it more interesting somehow, I will be very grateful.
You have to go back and break up the fight between NPCs that get too drunk.
Oh, dude, yeah, that
tase a bunch of drunken passengers. You know,
it's a little manning a Polaris feels a little too real sometimes. With how crew interacts, it's very funny.
All right. Well, today, like I said, we're talking about IAE. I do want to do a quick little thing before we get started. For those of you who have been watching this for a long time, we're actually going to be changing some things up. Now, from between now and the end of the year, we'll still have the Captain's Table here on the AstroPubLive YouTube channel. It'll remain up here forever. If you want to come back and watch those, I'll always leave them up there. But going forward, starting the new year, all of the new episodes will be placed on their own dedicated channel called the Captain's Table Podcast, which is already up. And I've been uploading the old episodes from the Captain's Table's past. Like right now, I'm going back to the original season. So if you want to see a fresh-faced, much actually heavier me, which was a strange thing to say because I've lost a lot of weight since then. From 2016, full of hope and vigor I was back then. I still had brown hair, to give you context. So yeah, 2016, I'm uploading those. I'll be uploading all of the videos for between now and the end of IAE. So like all of those old videos will be put up on that YouTube for you to enjoy, and their own podcast for each seasons. And starting in December, I'm going to put up all of the ones from this year will be put up like once or twice a day, 1 or 2 a day will be put up there for probably 1 a day until we get done. And then once we're done, I'll put the first episodes of this podcast on there. Now we'll still be doing this live here on Twitch. And of course on the AstroPub YouTube channel, we'll always do this live here, but the recorded podcasts will go up on their own dedicated channel, so that you can enjoy that at your own leisure. It's just a matter of how the YouTube algorithm works. It tends to prefer very simple channels that are very dedicated to one thing. It becomes easier for them to sort. So as I continue to do other games other than Star Citizen and do things like gaming stuff and maybe reviews and other things, I don't want to have that suffer or have the Captain's Table suffer because of that. So it'll basically allow you who are already watching it to find it better when it pops up on your streams. So with that said as well, I'm also doing my IAE lore tour videos, which I'm going to be doing on the Astro Historian. You can catch those every day we already did one yesterday and today, and we'll be doing another one tomorrow all the way through next Sunday. They start at 1 p.m. Eastern, so you can check us out there as well. So let's get started. General vibes of IAE so far. Cepheus, what is your general vibe? How are you feeling about this IAE?
I didn't get to attend the last IAE directly at all because I was out for training for my job, and so I didn't really get a good gauge on that one for a comparison point. That said, this IAE, it feels like it's fighting for attention with 4.0. Because that's hit wave 1. I'm really hoping that the fact that it is wave 1 and it requires kind of a paid to enter type thing via subscriptions, it'll kind of not take the whole spotlight from IE. That said, I thought the show that they did, the IE show that they posted yesterday, I thought that was very nice. I thought that was a really good show that they did. We learned a good few things from it, and I feel like if they keep doing those throughout, they post a few of those throughout IE, it'll keep the tone a lot more positive. But I know that everybody's kind of just 4.0 kind of thing. That's kind of, I haven't got a whole lot of vibe off it, honestly, because it's been fighting for the spotlight so much.
Radar, your vibes so far?
I'm going to say the same thing as him, honestly. He's right that it's vying for attention with 4.0, and you're right, though. It is only wave 1, and it's a little bit buggy, so I think there's not really a lot of activity in it. I think. I was in there a while ago and checking it out, and I know there's jump gate issues and stuff. So as far as IAE, I think I don't know. Honestly, I'm a little hopeful and curious to see how well it's going to do compared to last year. I am one of those guys. I'm kind of paying attention to the funding for the game, and I would prefer that it, garners enough interest every year, new interest every year. That new people keep coming in, and people are interested in spending money in ways that they feel valuable. Not like they're throwing away money on something that's not coming out. And I would like to see them come out with some cool ships that people find interesting and want to buy this year, so they can kind of keep up with the funding of last year. I don't think it's in anybody's interest if they wind up having a down year and wind up making less than they did last year. We're not at the stage where we want them to cut back on anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going full steam ahead. So as far as my vibe on it personally, yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm hoping it goes well. It looks like they've made some changes on the inside a little bit. They got that new kind of arch thing at the entranceway.
Mm-hmm.
The Intrepid is there. It was there yesterday, I guess. I don't know do they have two halls run at the same time today, I think?
So there was an issue when I went in last. It was the Aegis was up, but the Crusader Hall was down. It's supposed to be up, but I think there was an issue. There may be an issue that's why it's down. But hopefully it's back up. Yeah, hopefully it's back up by the time people are watching this. But because you only got until the 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. Eastern tomorrow for that, because that's when it'll go back down. The Crusader will be so.
Yeah. Overall, though, yeah, that's the gist of it.
I'll say that I think there's a couple of weird vibes before it. I think the 4.0 being released has definitely changed the feel of it. I feel like if 4.0 was released before this, then it would have been a much more up IAE.
Yeah.
But it feels sort of like in a weird sort of gray zone, because we know that 4.0, for instance, is going to wipe a bunch of stuff. So pretty much whenever those announcements happen, when they do a full wipe, the activity just drops, and activity dropping just before IAE is not usually a good thing, because it means that less people are interacting. And if you have less people playing and interacting with the game, that means there's less people who are interested in trying the game out, and it means there's less content creators trying the game out for the first time, which means there's less eyes going on to it. So, because it is a free flight week. I will say, go ahead.
I was just about to say, the fact that it's a free flight, hopefully they're going to wind up bringing in a lot of new eyeballs anyway, that don't really know too much about 4.0 or care, or, can't get access to it anyway. So
performance is really good for this patch. So
it is.
It is surprisingly good for a free flight. It's astonishingly good for a free flight.
Yeah.
So I would say if you are a new player who found this somehow as your first chance into Star Citizen, definitely check it out, because the performance is a lot better than it has been in the past. I say that, and now chat's going to fill up with people talking about how they fell through the planet 5 minutes ago or whatever. But it always happens. But in my experience, it has been very good. But I've also only really been on the floor halls, rather than not really going out in space. So. And typically when you hit the weekends is when it gets really bad, because everyone has time to try it out and just haven't experienced that really. So, yes, as typical. So Waffle says, just died to a lift, bro. Like, yeah, that's not performance based. Let's see what I was going to say. I think a lot of people, especially the old hats, are like, where's Jax? Want Jax? Because the Jax McCleary videos aren't happening.
I want Jax.
Is it just my imagination, or was that his voice in the intro to the IAE show yesterday?
It may have been the same actor who does the voice. He's just not doing the Jax McCleary voice. I will say that I don't think we're going to get Jax this year, because they said last year the reason why they didn't have Jax was because the team that were working on the cinematics that would normally be working on the Jax videos were all working on Squadron, and with Squadron in that sort of last crunch phase before it heads out, I think a lot of it, especially cinematic stuff, is going to be the stuff that they're going to look at and try to fix. So
yeah, that makes sense.
It does look like that the gameplay capture team is doing videos more and more, and they did the Molly and the what was his name? I always forget his name. The Mission Complete Burrito I Eat guy.
Stopped a crime. Burrito time.
Garmin
Humble.
Oh, yeah. Garmin Humble. Yeah. Garmin Humble. That was all done by the same gameplay capture team that does the ISC stuff. So I think a lot of them are doing some of those advertisings now as well. But I will say, because of those, I'm a little bit more hopeful. I like Radar Ranger watched the tracker a little bit, and it was down compared to last year, but there's also different factors like Crusader generally. Last year actually had a lot better than this year, but last year also had a unique alien starter ship and all sorts of things. And I know that the Aegis ships sold out much faster. The Aegis unique ships like the Javelin and the Idrises, they sold out faster than I've ever seen before. Because
This year?
Yeah, in the past you could hold on to them, like you could watch them tick by a couple of minutes and then they'll be gone. This year it was like 5 minutes before the sale actually opened, they were all sold out. So
it's interesting you say that though, because I wonder how much the Polaris had an impact on it. You know, the Polaris, first of all, that's going to be a big item, a sale item, I think, this year. But now that people have actually gotten a chance to get into the game and have a chance to have capital gameplay, maybe that's kind of got people looking towards some of the bigger ships.
So yeah, I think yeah, and we'll talk about the Intrepid in the room now, because I think that also may be a factor of why the funding isn't as good. It's because the Intrepid is sort of a odd choice to start off with. Radar, what is your kind of take on the Intrepid?
I like it. I'm really kind of surprised at all the hate it's getting. I mean, it looks like just every other Crusader ship anyway, but just a smaller version of it. And I'm not really a huge fan of the Crusader ships anyway. They are kind of neat and handy to fly around, but they're not my first pick from a design perspective. But I mean, I don't think it looks that bad. The interior is pretty cool. It's got a lot of neat features. It's got enough to give you an engineering gameplay, cargo. There's a bed in it. I think it is obviously going to be one of those love it or hate it ships this year, but I'll be interested to see how well it does. I know there's been some beef about the pricing on it and everything, but it's on sale, and I like it. Like I said, Crusader is my first manufacturer anyway, but I'm going to buy one regardless.
Cevius?
So Crusader was my favorite manufacturer until RSI kind of started taking the stage with their newer ships. I still really love Crusader a lot. The cockpit of the Hercules is just, being an airline guy, it just has the vibe for me.
Mm-hmm.
So my first time I didn't look at any of the leaks or initial posts that they made about the Intrepid. The first time I saw it was when I went into the PTU and I looked at the hull in game, and I kind of saw it from a distance. I zoomed in on it and I'm like, oh no, it's ugly. And I rented it. I went in, I flew it around, and I took a lot of time and I went through the ship kind of piece by piece. The interior of it is awesome. The ramp to get in and out of it is awesome. It flies really well. And I remember flying it around for a few minutes and I was like, the ship's actually pretty nice. It's got a nice cockpit. It's got a nice interior. And then I hit F4 and I was jump scared by the exterior of it.
Yeah.
I jumped a little bit. It's like, oh, this is what I'm flying. And I feel like if you can get past the low firepower, the kind of weaker than it should be shields, and you just kind of focus on the interior, it's not a bad ship. At its sale price, I could justify it to people almost. I'd rather it be cutter priced, but Avenger, it depends on. I think it's kind of where's the value of that interior going to land in the final game. Is having a big interior, an armor stand, shelves, interior storage, is that going to make the difference when people are exploring Castra and Pyro and Terra and all of that, or is it kind of something you can do with or do without? If you could do without it, get an Avenger.
Yeah,
it's a starter ship, so probably that I think it seems like it's a good way to introduce somebody new to all of the gameplay, or some of the early gameplay mechanics. And like you said, if you're exploring, you do find something, you do want to have a shelf to put it on.
That's where I kind of derive some of the value for it. That said, if it's going to be $80 after it goes off sale, no, buy a Nomad.
Yeah,
that's kind of my reaction to it. If they would stick it at $50 full price next to the cutter, I could say you've got the cutter, you've got the Intrepid, take your pick, right? It's kind of like is a little bit better of an interior versus slightly worse looks. Subjectively, of course, a lot of people really like the looks of the Intrepid, and that's fine. I don't, but I acknowledge the ship for the practicality that it holds. So yeah, I've got mixed feelings on it. If I just stay on the inside, I'm fine. But if I have to look at the outside of that thing, I'm not happy. I don't like it.
Yeah, I have mixed thoughts about it because the first thing when I looked at it, I was like, I don't care about the looks. It looks fine to me, and the interior is fine. When it originally released, it was super fast, like like ridiculously fast. And when it hit me that it has these sort of shielded cargo and it's super fast, my first thought was, this is a starting smuggling ship. Like that's what this is. It's a mini Mercury crossed with an Ares. Like that's what this is supposed to be. And I could see it in my head. And then when it released, it dropped down 200 meters per second in terms of speed. So it's now slower than any of the other ships it's competing with, like the E315P and the Avenger Titan. And it has weaker shields than it should have. And it's shielded. Its cargo isn't shielded. So it's like, and the price is really high. Like I thought it was going to be sold at package at like $75, and I was like, yeah, it's you know, it's an Avenger Titan with an interior, but it has these sort of other advantages. So it kind of has a little bit more, like it has a specific purpose. Like buy this for touring. So if you want to go into space and enjoy things, you have your little presentations. But also, there's a little bit of a high value, low quantity cargo you could run. And I felt like that would be a perfect niche for it to hit. It would be perfect value for its price. You could still argue against it, but there would still be somebody for it, even with its looks. But then, like, and I'm already seeing somebody in the comments saying like, "Oh, well, this is just with inflation. This is $80 is the new starter pack." It's not.
But they're still selling the $45 starter packs.
They're still selling $45 starter packs, and Jake. Bradley, they are the one of the community managers, said straight out, this is not a $45 starter pack competitor. This is a not an advanced starter is what they said, but they said this is not a basic starter. This is something different. So
do you think the more modern ship design could be a factor in why they're charging more for it?
Possibly. I think the interior is really what they're charging for, the size and the interior. Yeah. Because the interior definitely screams more of this is designed for what Star Citizen is going to be in 1.0. So this is probably going to be more comfortable than most of the other ships. It'll probably have some advantage there. The problem is that I couldn't tell you what that is right now. So them selling at $80 feels like, what are you doing? Like I don't see it,
If they would have,
I think they're working the slider.
Yeah.
If they would have taken either get rid of the little like cargo covers in the cargo bay and make it like stack that 4 SCU too high, make it hold 16 SCU, or make it shielded. Both of those I think could have turned this into a viable trade ship and just make it a little faster.
Yeah,
because it's not going to fight anything with a single size 4. I mean, you've got double that firepower on an Avenger Titan for $5 less at its sale price. But if they had, doubled that cargo or made it shielded, I think they would have had a kind of a niche but viable ship on their hands. As it is right now, especially at $80, I can't find a reason to recommend it to anybody other than if you like RP and you want a comfortable ship. That's the only circumstance I can recommend it to somebody at full price. $65, it's easier.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that I think a lot of people. I will clarify as well as what I'm saying is I'm looking at this from the perspective of a new person coming into the game to purchase the ship. Like at $60 a standalone ship, it's fine. Like that's not a bad price for what it is. That's not really the problem in my mind. That's like but that's going to be like you and us here, you and me and everyone here. This thing that's the sort of range that we're looking at, and the range we're looking at is like. That's fine. It was great for a tiny little ship with LTI, and it was great. It's a fine little thing. But when you're looking at it from the perspective of somebody who's coming into the game now, it's like if you had a friend coming in there, would you tell them, get this ship? And why would you do that? And it's not a problem that's unique with this ship. It's a problem that's kind of gone on with a lot of the starter ships. And I'm hoping that CIG sort of consolidates a lot of ships when they start getting towards 1.0 so that all advanced starters are the same price and all just like all the basic starters are the same price. So it's less of a, oh, well, this has got more value for the cost. It's more of a, they're all $80, pick what you want kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, But yeah, I want to like it. I think if CIG, because someone else pointed out in the chat, but it does have high range, but so does the cutter. The cutter also has a pretty high like range in terms of quantum fuel. So it doesn't really differentiate itself enough from the cutter, and it's also more expensive than the cutter. It's more of a Avenger, which is the problem is the price. It's the price and what it can do. If it was cheaper, what it currently does is fine. But if at this price it needs to value, it has to have some sort of value for that starter person. Why should a person choose this ship to be their first experience in Star Citizen? So, yeah.
How does its range compare to the Cutter Rambler?
I don't know. I haven't checked the Cutter Rambler's quantum fuel, but I know that the Intrepid has 1K or 1K or 1 million. I think it's 1 million. 1 million quantum fuel. So the Rambler apparently is better. So
yeah, because the Rambler is also cheaper, isn't it?
Yeah, it's also cheaper.
Yeah. That's hard. That's a hard set, but and it's the Rambler also doesn't carry as much cargo, but you can twist yourself into an argument to recommend the Intrepid, just not at full price in my opinion.
Yeah, good at this price at $63. That's a fine starter package price.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the Cutter is also on sale as a starter package for like $50. It's like that's also a really good deal.
Yeah, get that one. Yeah, get that one.
It's cheaper and it's better. So it has less cargo, but you can put a vehicle in there. All right. So with that being said, let's move on to the other new thing that was added, and I'll start with you on this, Radar. The IAE Academy. I'm going to pull it up so we can read what the IAE Academy is. Specifically, it says the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo is all about empowering citizens to carve out their own paths across the stars. But taking the first steps can be daunting. Enter IAE Academy, a crash course in spaceflight and careers available to enterprising new pilots. Complete IAE Academy missions, earn rewards, and thrive as you venture into the wide verse. To earn rewards, players must complete any 3 tasks from the 5 tasks listed below. For information, read the Spectrum announcement. So to complete any of the 3 tasks, the following: IAE 2954 in-game event shirt, white; combat career kit, Orc Mark 10 Singularity armor set; stone skin undersuit; P4AR Night Stalker rifle; Gemini L86 pistol. In-game rewards will be attributed to players on this 27th of November, 2nd of December, and 5th of December. So there are 5 tasks. Task 1 is to do the tutorial. Task 2 is to visit IAE. Task 3 is combat, to go out and do a combat. Open your Moby Glass, complete the tracker training permit certification for Bounty Hunters Guild. For hauling, the task 4 is hauling, which is complete the opportunity for independent hauler contract in your Moby Glass. And task 5 is industry. So for this task, your objective is to mine and sell ore. You can do this one of 2 ways: asteroid mining or hand mining. Hand mining involves smaller ore deposits in the planet surface inside caves. To get started, you need a multi-tools attachment and a ship to scout for deposits. So, and they link this it's on the front page. And if you have all of those done, then you will have what does it say? It will track all your page on there, but if you get all those done, they have the guides done by the community that are linked there in videos. So if they've got like Beard of Oz, they have Red Monster, they have Ferrister's hauling guide, they have Burks's combat guide, and so on and so forth. So they've got a bunch of different guides for you to kind of go around and do that as well. So with that being said, Radar Ranger, what are your thoughts on the IAE Academy?
I think it's a good idea. I was kind of a little bit surprised about the messaging on it, though. It seems like it's targeted towards somebody who's, to all the free fly people who maybe are new eyeballs on the game and haven't actually played yet. Mm-hmm. It's obviously designed to kind of get you going through all the mechanics that are out there in the game and sort of let you test your waters and force you to go through the tutorial and everything else. But like you said, it was on the main page and I see it, but it's like if I was a brand new Star Citizen person and if I came to the website, I might not. it's not that entirely obvious. So like if you go to the page about the expo,
Yeah.
it's not on the main expo page. You have to go down to another page before you even see anything about the mission. It's definitely a cool idea. If they were targeting it towards new people, they probably should have been a little bit more upfront with it to like get it in front of people so that they saw it a little bit easier.
Mhm.
It sounds like it would be a good idea to get everybody, to give them a reason to try everything out in the game so they can kind of show them what it's capable of.
Yeah.
But like and I'll probably do it too. I think maybe that tutorial might be a little bit painful to go through, but
Well, you don't have to do the
just to have the
tutorial.
goodies.
You just have to do 3 of the 5.
Oh, that's
So,
true. Okay, right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a good idea. I wonder what kind of impact. It'd be interesting. I would love to see their metrics on whether or not after the fact it was successful in getting people into the game and trying it out.
Yeah.
I mean, they do have a hard task to show people how to, what can you do in the game if you don't have a user's manual and it's in such an alpha state. So this is one way to kind of lead people along to get them to try some of these things out and see how well it works. So yeah.
Cevius, your thoughts on the IAE Academy?
I think it's a great way to try to prompt players to do the stuff, do the thing in the game. Because I'll bring people into Star Citizen and they'll boot up the game, they'll get in, we'll find each other in Orison somehow, and they're like, "All right, what now?" And I'm like, it's hard to kind of show them stuff because there's so many options, and it's hard to like, well, do you want to do salvage? Do you want to do mining? Do you want to do cargo? They're like, I don't know. And this is a way to kind of guide them through all of the kind of base game loops of the game. I think, like Radar said, it's a little bit. It's not in your face when you jump into the website when you get your free fly account set up. I think it needs to be more in your face. I wish they had kind of implemented this as a mission chain in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you boot up the game or even on the home screen, it would like pop out at you and, do the IAE Academy kind of thing. I really wish it would do that because I think that the idea is a great way to kind of let people chew on the content that this game has to offer in a bite-sized, one bite at a time. Because that's one of the biggest problems for this game is just once someone finds their content, they have tons of fun.
Mm-hmm.
But if someone just jumps in and has no idea what to do, they're never going to play it because they don't know what to do. So good idea.
Player needs objectives, what you're trying to say. It's like,
yes. The tutorial mission I think is a good step in that direction, but unless it's changed since the last time I played it, it was here's your hab, go to the starport, here's your ship, good luck. Guiding you through like a mission of every game loop, more or less, is I think a really good way to kind of let people kind of take a bite, see what they like, see what they don't, and then they'll continue playing with the content that they found that they like. I just think they need to like shove it in your face more in the game because CIG is very reliant on the website, which for us experienced backers is fine. I probably, like many people, have the website like bookmarked on my Chrome. It's one of the first buttons up there. But I know a lot of people don't do it. I'm like, what the hell is the website? I want to join your org. Where the hell do I go? I don't know where this is. And I'm like, I get quiet. Yeah, that's good idea. Fine execution. They need to shove it on new players more so that they see it.
Yeah. I'm of same minds as both y'all. I think the biggest disappointment of the IAE Academy is that it's not in game. I will forever be an advocate for CIG to put things in game more and more. It is a step in the right direction. I think having an event or having things that people do is just like, hey, come on and do this sort of thing. And I think CIG has been slowly getting better at it. I do understand that part of it is probably that the mission team is busy doing other things.
Yeah, it's a lot more work to put it in game than it is to put it in a website.
Yeah. And they can track it easier. And there have been a lot of people in chat who are like, the tracking doesn't work. And that's the problem, is that a lot of stuff in Star Citizen doesn't work. And the tracking system probably is broken and probably has other things. And a lot of the people who'd be fixing a lot of those issues are probably working on 4.0 because they need to get that out the door before the end of the year. So it's a kind of kind of situation.
I have a feeling they'll do it better next year when they do something like this for next year's IAE, because if we all remember the Overdrive initiative, there was a period in there where we had to send a support ticket to see if we'd done all the missions.
Yeah.
And now with Save Stanton, it's in game, it's in your journal.
Yeah.
So I think this time next year for the next IAE Academy, if they continue it, which I hope they do, maybe we'll kind of see what we're asking for here in the game. And that's kind of what I'm fingers crossed about, is that they'll do that, because it's a great idea. They just need, and like you said, it's just a matter of resources.
Yeah.
You know, they have other problems they need to tackle before they can really do the optimum implementation of this.
Yeah. I'm glad that they're trying it, because at the very least by them trying it, it means that we can see they're shooting for this direction to get this done. I think it's a good idea. I do. I like what they're doing. But as always, more. More.
The intent is there.
Yeah. I understand, but more. I will never be satisfied. Let's see. I wanted to bring up one more kind of thing about IAE. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about your like manufacturer day, like to look out for. And then of course, I'll wrap it up with sort of because we talked about it a little bit this, but if someone was new to the game, what kind of ship package would you suggest? So Cepheus, I'll start with you on this one. Are there any specific manufacturer days that you are interested in, or do you think that people should look out for whatever reason?
I personally am most excited for RSI Day, just because I never grabbed a Polaris, and I want one. I slept on that ship myself, because I'm a very like multi-focus player. I like some PvE combat, but I also really focus on industry and cargo and all of that stuff. I had not realized the Polaris has a crap ton of cargo space, and a Vulture can fit in that hangar. And a Prospector can fit in that hangar. The industrial uses of a Polaris are significant. And I realized that when it was like finally getting into game and we were seeing more of the like inside Star Citizens on it, and you couldn't buy it.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for RSI Day, because I'm going to be kind of rearranging my fleet a little bit and grabbing a Polaris, which I'm very excited about. For what people should be looking out for, I think Anvil Day is going to have. Anvil has a very diverse lineup of ships. You can do a lot of different gameplays, and I move between them and Aegis. But the Paladin looks like it might be interesting. Whatever that actually ends. I know we've got leaked descriptions and all that, but I try to kind of wait until CIG actually comes out and tells us, because I always like to remind people, Miscraptor. So so let them tell us about the ship. But I look out for RSI Day and Anvil Day is what I would tell people. For, you said starter packs that I'd recommend to new players.
Let's wait for that. Let's do that after we talk about it.
Okay.
Radar.
So,
your what are you looking forward to, and what should people look out for this IAE in terms of like
sales it's days? Funny because it used to be Aegis Day, because that was going to be the day we could buy an Idris or a Javelin and participate in the F5 wars. But I'm squared away there now, so I agree. RSI Day is going to be kind of cool because of Polaris. I think it'll be interesting to see how many it sells. What are they going for? Oh, we don't know yet, do we?
No.
Price on it.
Typically, they increase about 10 to 25% when they go live. So, which would place it somewhere between $800 and $900, because it's currently like $750. So
I bought it when it came out on concept, and I don't remember if it was like $350 or $650. $650. Okay, yeah. So that'll be interesting to look. But I agree. I think I'm gonna go with CPS as well. I think Anvil? Yeah. Anvil Day for the Paladin. I'm really kind of curious to see what it is. Like you said, there's some fuzzy images on Reddit that you can see, but I'm kind of curious to see what it is. Any new ship like that, I'm always kind of keeping my eyes out for it. I wonder if it's going to be straight flyable, or if it's going to be concept only, or what. What I really want is another big capital ship, but I don't think we're going to get one of those.
I wonder if it's just going to be Redeemer but Anvil.
That's possible. Yeah.
That seems to be the going thought process, I think.
I personally, I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. I'm personally looking forward to the Drake Day, because one of the things that is big now is that they've now confirmed that that MISC and Drake are going to be the next big manufacturers after RSI is finished, and we know that the Ironclad is going to be worked on. So the Ironclad's being up for sale again will be interesting, as well as the Kraken, because now they've been making a lot of references towards the Kraken. So it would be interesting with all of the changes they've been making and the Kraken Privateer and how they work. And I'll say another one to look out for is, while Anvil I think is an important one to keep your eye on because of that mystery ship that's likely going to be released. For those the rumor's name is the Anvil Paladin. We don't know if it's true or not. But I do think that another one to look out for is Consolidated Outland. I think the Pioneer, the F5 wars for the Pioneer are going to be big this year.
Yep.
I think they laid the groundwork for that. So I tell you what, they have been. So my theory, and it's probably pretty well supported, is that the exterior of the Kraken is done because they needed it for Squadron 42, and they probably have maybe, if no interior at all, maybe they had like a minimal, maybe a couple bridge layouts or something like that for cinematics or something. But if what you said is true and they really are starting on Drake stuff next, like you want to see CID print money, get that thing done in time for next year. There you go. Yeah, get that thing done in time for next year's CitizenCon, and that will be one way for them to get the money machine.
Full disclosure, I am a biased source when it comes to Drake, though. So that's the reason why. So
I had no idea. So there's a good question in there for you guys. Do you think they're holding the Idris for Squadron's release? Mm-hmm. Do you guys think they would release the Kraken without the Idris?
Yes, 100%. If it was done, they'll release it, because it's not. I don't think it's a. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm just skeptical that they'll get it done in time before Squadron. Like I don't know. If there was suddenly a big huge push for them to get it done, like probably of all of the ships, the kit that they have done the most is probably for Drake stuff. Mm-hmm. So like if they really wanted to put their energy into it, and after they got the RSI stuff, if they really did want to plan on a big huge money printing binge for next year around this time, then that would be neat to get it out just before. CitizenCon or before Squadron comes out.
I'll have another question after the star package question, though, because before we get to the star package, because that's another thing. Like we got in the IAE show, we got some new reveals, which I think also bodes well for if Drake is going to be Drake and MISC are going to be the manufacturers afterwards. Bodes well for the Freelancer. And Freelancer, the Connie, and the Caterpillar, because they showed off that the Carrack has doors now for cargo that you can open up for 4.0, plus the blast shield and a bunch of other things that have been working on the Carrack. So they got the Carrack up to standard, which tells me that possibly we're going to see the Caterpillar finally get its doors that lower. It's like elevator doors that lowering, and the interior of the Freelancer reworked, and maybe the Connie get its own interior pass. They did say at it as well that they're looking at doing a Connie interior pass to kind of bring it up to standard. So there's a lot of.
Why'd you say the Freelancer though? Do you think they're gonna do a rework on that or something?
I think they're gonna do an interior rework when they work on the Starlancer and the because they said that MISC is going to be the next major focus after RSI.
Because that would definitely make sense. I'm sure there's a lot of components shared between the Starlancers and Freelancer. Yeah. But then if that's the case, I'm wondering, there was some talk about redoing the interior of the Starfarer because it was such a maze in there. Yeah. I wonder if they actually would do that.
That would make sense too, because the Starfarer was built before they had the big scale of MISC before. Yeah. Now that they have the big scale with things like the Starlancer, the whole series, and probably the Odyssey coming up, I wouldn't be surprised if they went back and also gutted and redid the Starfarer to make it more usable for. Like the exterior is fine, the interior needs to get reworked. Yeah. So
that is a sign of how far this game has come, because I remember when that ship, the Starfarer, first came out in the hangar module. Ship. Yeah. Yes, and it was like the idea of being able to walk around in that thing was really cool. It was very different for video games at the time. And the detail was, especially for back then, was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And now we take it for granted. We're walking around a Polaris and
Yeah.
You get the gist of it.
Yeah. But I mean, the fact that they went through and actually fixed the Carrack after many people complaining gives me hope that is.
Yeah.
And so I will also ask you this, starting with this, Radar, your thoughts on the IAE show. Is this a good idea? Do you like what they're doing with the IAE show? Because it's a little different from what they've done in the past, where they usually do just sort of like a manufacturer spotlight of what they are and the ships they have and them talking about it. This is a lot more, it's not different than they've done in the past. So
a little more produced.
Yeah.
I would say absolutely. I'm always looking for new content, anything to mix it up a little bit, and especially if it's got information to present in it. They brought back the how many questions can you answer thing. They've done that before, and that was pretty neat. We got quite a few good reveals from it. I like the little, I'm a big fan of the animations, the cinematic stuff that they come up with. I always think those are neat. And the questions were paced and edited. Paste as in paste properly and edited, and they were nice and clean and quick, and we got some really good information out of it. So yeah, I like it. I hope they do more of it. It was only that one, right? They didn't do another one today. I'm wondering if they were actually okay.
I think the next one is
going. They were going to try to do one every day.
They said they're going to do one every other day. I think so. I think the next one's releasing either Sunday or Monday.
Oh, right on.
Because Sunday is, what is the manufacturer for Sunday? Is it Alien? No.
Misk, I think.
It's Misk. Oh, it's Misk. If it's Misk, then it's the Starlancer. So they'll talk about the Starlancer and other kind of stuff like that. So
that makes sense.
So we'll probably get another one next time. So, I'm sorry. I see a CIG member in chat who's saying things, and I'm like, how can you get lost in that? Well, I guess saying that they get lost in the Starfare, and it's like, really? You never mind. About you, Cepheus, IAE show. What do you think?
I think it's a good compromise between inside Star Citizen and the IAE content that we've got in the past. But I miss Jax. I miss Jax's Top Gear style, manufacturer day stuff. Those were so much fun. I was always so excited to watch those, and I'm not excited for the IAE show. But if they're not, I feel like if they're not bringing back Jax right now, because for whatever reason or not, I'm happy with this in its place. We got a lot of good information off that one. I hope we continue to get good information off of future episodes. And I'm happy. I'm definitely happy. I just really want Jax back. Jax and Jimmy, all of that, all those episodes. I rewatch those on occasion just because they're so much fun.
Yeah.
They're always a good time. And I really wish they could do that. I know why they're not. I just wish that they could.
Mm-hmm.
And but if it's kind of this or that or nothing, give me the IAE show. I like it. I'm gonna watch every single episode. And I'm pleased. I'm pleased.
Yeah.
I personally hope that they bring back a lot of that. There was rustlings a year or so ago that the lore team was thinking about or was writing episodes for audio and video shows to play on the screens around the verse, or for you to be able to watch in your ship. So, because a lot of the lore stuff that we have is actually transcripts from shows on Spectrum. So, Spectrum's the in-game version of the internet and the cable TV combined. So having those be actual animated or at least audio format so you can hear them would be neat. And I'd love to see a Whitley's Guide series on various ships that they do, which are 5-6 minutes long, and then be able to do the IAE shows and stuff like that. But I do like the videos. The videos they're doing is better. I kind of like last year. I like Jax, but I like Garmin Humble and Molly. I love that sort of compromise. I'd love to see more of those, but I'm a sucker.
I thought was inane. I'm sorry. I'm glad they didn't do that again.
it adds depth to the universe that isn't text.
Yeah.
And I
so
appreciate
text.
that.
Yeah.
I appreciate the fact that they're doing that. And yeah, my ultimate dream for just a feature that I would like before 1.0 is give all of those screens in our ships or even your mobiGlas the ability to open Spectrum. And you
Yeah.
could see like maybe all their YouTube videos they could port over to Spectrum inside Star Citizen, Star Citizen Live, all the commercials and promotional stuff. Put all of that in a format that I can watch it sitting in the crew lounge on the Polaris or in the Starlancer
Yeah,
or in like
that would be
whatever ship. Give me something to do during that 7-minute quantum travel.
Yeah.
yeah.
That would be, I mean, engineering, whatever, but that would, that would be a huge quality of life thing. I'd spend so much more time just sitting in game watching this stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
They'll probably get to that point eventually.
Yeah.
I'm expecting it, yeah, but I want soon. Give me
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah.
I did press the developers for as much as I can from my remoteness during CitizenCon, and they definitely seem to indicate that they want to do more video and audio components to even like missions and stuff like that. They just don't have the resources yet to do so because a lot of those resources are locked up in Squadron. I'm still a little concerned about it because the question becomes, okay, so if they were locked up in Squadron, what happens when Squadron's released and then that team starts moving on to the sequel? Do you have those cinematics teams suddenly? Like what's going to happen?
We had that debate a little internally, and whether or not, would they jump to the sequel right off the bat, or would they stay focused on Star Citizen for a while?
Mm-hmm.
I could definitely see arguments for both, but I think my view is that and I don't know if we talked about this last time already, but my view is that they need to get to a point where if they have Squadron 42 coming out in 2026, it's prudent for them to have an MMO type game ready to receive a player that's just come out of that game who's looking for more. And if they don't have a really good experience with Star Citizen that's not buggy like it is now, has some complete game loops in it, has some new player experiences in it, somebody to effectively work that funnel from Squadron 42 into a longer term MMO, if they drop the ball with that, I think they're missing out on a good business opportunity to really keep the machine going. And if they try to go straight from Squadron 42 to the next sequel and skip over putting the effort into Star Citizen, I think that's a mistake.
Yeah, I agree. That's really the question when it comes down to it. So I would love to see them transition. I personally believe they'll kind of wait for a little bit before going on to the next one, though, because the team needs a break. Give them a couple of months to just whoosah and just do other things. And the teams that will be doing like a small strike team that works on just fixing bugs and other things that pop up and keeping it stable and maybe adding in cut content, whatever cut content they have is like free updates over the course, that sort of thing. So with now that we've talked about the IAE show, which I think is good, if you haven't had a chance to look at it, make sure you check it out. I'm interested in seeing what they do because it's going to be a lot of content compared to our typical IAE. It looks like it's going to be every other day. So we're going to get, it's like 10 days of IAE. We're probably going to get 5 different IAE shows, each about the same length as an ISC, which is pretty good. And with some interesting things. I love the Legionnaires. The Legionnaires commercial was great. It took me back to my youth with G.I. Joe commercials. It was perfect. That was exactly what it was hitting at. And
that had disco written all over
it. It was disco. He was even doing the voiceover. Like it was definitely him.
Was that him?
Yeah, it was him. So. Yeah. I love that whole thing. It was great. It was fun. And that's fun, and I hope they continue with that sort of little tongue in cheek here every so often because again it adds stuff to flavor to the universe, even if it's just a joke. Absolutely. Like I could see that happening as an actual advertisement because Jax McCleary is that kind of guy who would sell his likeness to a cartoon as a
absolutely.
So
we're gonna see Legionnaire dolls inside the game.
Yes. Let's talk about the like starter ship. Like if a new player were to come to you, because this is an IAE and IAEs tend to be when we get a lot of new players coming in for like trying out the free fly. If somebody came up to you and said, asked 2 questions. Number 1 said, what should I get? I want to buy Star Citizen. What should I buy? And if, primarily, and then if they said, hey, I'm looking, I have money. I don't want to buy just a basic starter ship. I want to go a little bit beyond. What should I buy? That'll get me my best bang for my buck. What would you suggest? I'll start with you, Cepheus. So of the 2 basic starters, what would you suggest people getting? And then if they were going to go beyond that to the more advanced starters, what would you suggest?
Are we counting an Avenger as a basic starter?
Yes, it is not a basic starter. It's a advanced starter because it's $75 for the package.
So like between Mustang and Aurora?
Yeah, between Mustang and Aurora, the $45 package. I'd
probably push somebody to Aurora, but I haven't used either ship extensively personally, so I really can't probably Aurora. But if they're looking for an advanced starter, Avenger or Cutter.
Okay.
And I think those are the 2 probably that I would suggest for like that kind of one step up. And Avenger or Cutter just kind of based off aesthetics and which style fits you better. Do you prefer sleek or do you prefer kind of the Drake aesthetic, whatever that the opposite of sleek is. And if the Cutter counts as a basic starter, I'd count that.
Okay.
And for the person that's I have money, I don't care, just get me something that'll let me do kind of a little bit of everything. Again, depending on your preferred aesthetic, Cuddy Black or C1.
Okay.
That would be and if they really are trying to dump a lot of money, C1 to either I guess Nomad a tier below to you really open up into anything after the C1 or Cutlass. So yeah, that's my top number 1 recommendation is always the Avenger to everybody. That was my first ship. And that'd be my answer.
Radar, your same thoughts. What of the 2 basic starters, what would you suggest? And if someone was asking for something like a more advanced starter, what would you suggest?
I'm going to go with what C Daddy said. I'm going to push him right into the Legatus pack.
Legatus pack. Drop it.
Open thy wallet. Is the Connie a starter pack, a starter ship? I thought it was, right?
There is a Connie pack, yeah.
Yeah. So honestly, I don't know that I have a single one. It would all depend on who the person is. Like how good of a gamer are they? What kind of experience do they have? How much do I think they're going to put up with the bugs? Are they going to be playing with me? Mostly they're going to be playing solo a lot because I'm not around or something. It would all depend on kind of what I would honestly, I would read what they probably want to do in the game first before I gave them any suggestions.
How about of the basic starter pack though, the $45? Which of the 2 ships would you suggest?
Of the 2, which ones are they?
The Aurora MR and the Cutlass or the Mustang Alpha.
Yeah, I would go with the Aurora, probably because the Mustang, does it still have some kind of clipping bugs in it? I know
sometimes
they improved it a little bit. I actually like the Mustang. It's got a nice view on the cockpit and everything, but I just haven't used it in a while. I'm not sure how practical it is.
Aurora has a bed. That was my kind of my big difference. Mustang doesn't have a bed.
True.
That is huge because right now in the way the mechanics work, if you need to bail for some reason, you're kind of shit out of luck. If you're in the Mustang, although what's the one that has the bed? The Beta, right? Or the Gamma? Yeah,
Beta has the interior.
For a while. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Anything with a bed, but yes. Yeah. Maybe the Aurora. I'd start with.
All right. I would suggest personally, I'd probably say the Aurora, but I honestly think that there's not really much of a difference between the Aurora and the Mustang, in my opinion. I think the Mustang has its advantages as more of a combat ship.
The Mustang looks cooler.
It looks cooler.
Yeah.
But they both have cargo. The bed is little, but
it's also a coffin bed.
Yeah. So
climbing into a casket.
So it's a little off. And I'd also suggest, again, this is just typically, you don't need anything more than a $45 package. Everything else can be earned in game. And while yes, it is scary to have things like, in 1.0, we're gonna have to build all our ships and all these sorts of things. It's like, we have years before 1.0. You can enjoy the game with what you have, and if you want to purchase ships later because of those things, you can. It's not like that's going away anytime soon. But $45 gets you in the door and lets you enjoy the game for right now, and worth your time and money. Some things.
There's a lot of game between here and 1.0.
Yes. If someone was saying, "Hey, I'm going to get one more advanced stuff," I would say, in order, for just general purposes, the Avenger Titan, and then beyond the Avenger Titan, I would say the Cutlass Black. If they wanted to go up further, I would say, "Are you insane?" But the Connie or the Freelancer are both good options as well. The Freelancer probably a little better than the Cutlass, especially with Pyro coming out. But at that point, you're dropping like $200, so $250.
And you can buy anything
about
at
the
that point.
Connie. Yeah, the good thing about the Connie is you can actually do a little multiplayer with it. So if you wanted to really get in there with them, you could man a turret and kind of show them the ropes a little bit more. So that's kind of why I was asking about it.
Yeah, and I'd say like that's one of the reasons why I'd say the Cutlass is a good step up from, say, it's like kind of a solo starter ship, because it is a multi-person. It's got 2 other seats. It's got a co-pilot seat and a gunner seat, so it has that sort of multi-crew vibe if you wanted to. So. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of what I would suggest. I think that's going to wrap it up for our discussion on IAE, almost exactly at the 1 hour mark. We're going to take a break for a few moments and take questions from chat. For those of you who are newer, I break this up into 2 parts. So the first part is the discussion, and that'll be posted on YouTube after the fact. And then I will do I'll post the question and answer session separately. It helps with the kind of keeping the hours down, so someone doesn't look at the videos and goes, 3 hours. I'm not going to watch 3 hours of this. And also we have a new question bot created by was created for the info runners originally, so that we've kind of modified for my channel. So if you put question in brackets in the chat and then ask your question, the bot will pick it up no matter what. And I myself, and as well as the entire cast, can actually see those, so we can go back and look at them and answer those when we get a chance to. But before we get to that, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe for more content, hit the bell icon to be notified when it was released. As always, I want to hear your thoughts on any of these things we talked about in the comments below. Make sure to check out CFES. What was the name of your organization again?
We're called Northern Star.
Northern Star. And check them out at twitch.tv/CFES_TV. Check out the My Radar app, and of course Andy Green on Radar. Or Radar Ranger on.
Can I do a plug for our org too?
Sure.
Enemy Contact. Go look us up.
Enemy Contact is also where. Why am I blanking? Nubifier. Yeah. So Nubifier is his org as well. So go check that out. And if you want to watch us live, twitch.tv/TheAstroPub, youtube.com/TheAstroPubLive on Saturdays starting at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Would love to have you come down and join us live for these events as well. And I've also moved social media accounts too. I am also on Blue Sky under Paul Shelley .blsk.social. So if you look up the AstroPub, you'll be able to find me there as well. Love to have you join me there. I do talk a lot about space and science fiction beyond just Star Citizen, including my ever-present obsession with mechs and mecha. But love to see you there. And remember to subscribe to the Captain's Table Podcast YouTube, because that will be where all of these will live in the future. Like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black. All right, chat. We're going to be right back. Don't go anywhere. We're going to grab something to drink and eat, and then we'll be right back for question and answers. Yes, you can go to the bathroom, Jin. We're back with the question and answer session with Cepheus and Radar Ranger, talking about IAE 2954, the beginnings of it, what we've seen, talked about things like IAE Academy, the IAE show, the Crusader Intrepid, and some of the other things that have kind of started off at the very beginning of the show, the beginning of the event, as it were. And now we're going to be taking questions from the chat itself. So let's just start it off with Gin and Tonic, who asks, about the whole, quote, vibe of IAE, how many of us here have been around very long time? So this is old hat to us. Wouldn't it make sense that the vibe for us is very different from the vibe from newer players? Yes, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially new players are going to come in and say, wow, this is a really cool idea.
Yeah.
How do I buy these ships?
Yeah, I don't think any of us are saying like the vibes are bad or anything like that. I think most, like, my big issue is it comes down to like, I'm wondering, how does CIG kind of make sure that new players are enjoying themselves and direct them in the right direction? And they're working on it. They're getting better at it as they go. But it's baby steps, which can be frustrating when you have somebody who is like obviously bought in on the idea, would love to have played the game, and like say, because I'm sure people who are watching this right now and in chat right now have friends who are like, if this game was like 5% better, they would be just never leave the game. Like they would love this game, but it's not. Yeah. And it's like so close. And
I'm planning on retiring in it at some point.
Yeah. But yeah, that is a good point though. Like the vibe of a new player is going to be a little different. I think mostly what we were talking about when we talked about the vibes was things like what's going on, because it doesn't feel like there's a lot of people on the floor, nor there's a lot of people talking about it outside of the community. So
I think it's definitely like an unspoken, comparison from year to year from people who've been here before and have seen what past IEs have looked like. I think that definitely kind of makes you feel like you have a little bit of insight as to what a new person might be seeing.
But also
comes with a little baggage.
IAE this time is like the IAE is 1/3 of what's going on in Star Citizen right now.
Yeah,
because you've got Save Stanton and 4.0 stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like 1/3 of the attention is on IAE, where past years it's been just IAE. Here you go. This is the thing. This is what you log in today. You're playing. You're doing IAE stuff. Versus now you have two other options.
It would be funny to see new players brought in and be like, "Oh, what is this mission I'm taking? Save Stanton. I'd like to save Stanton, whoever this Stanton guy is." Yeah. And then just walk up and like, "What is this? This is a big ship. Wow, can I save this?" And just instantly gibbed.
45 minutes of work.
All right. Gin Atomic then asks a question: if funding is less this year, even by a little bit, do you really think that's a bad thing? Why? I think it depends on CIG's taking that, how CIG takes that, because corporate entities are not the same as people, and corporate entities, when the revenue starts slowing down or the profit starts changing, have different reactions. And CIG as a corporate entity, I am not confident that CIG as a corporate entity won't do layoffs if they don't make enough money. I've already heard some internal things about how they've been shifting around different offices and studios and stuff like that. So I know there's going to be some things happening in the next couple of years, stateside in general. But I, this is something that's been planned for years, sort of situation. But I also wouldn't put it past CIG to start cutting staff if they don't have enough revenue for a year, because they'll start, not necessarily they need to, but they might be like, hey, if this is a downward trend, then we need to start looking at how can we rebalance the boat so that we don't have that problems.
I mean, anybody can kind of put yourself in that shoe, in that boat. If you were seeing increasing revenues every year and then suddenly you have a down year, you can imagine that it's absolutely going to make you kind of do a little bit of a double take and see why, try to understand why, figure out, potentially how to compensate for it. Like Paul said, would they look at it as layoffs, or would they would they look at the why and say, okay, this is just an off year. We know next year is going to be a little bit different. We're going to have different opportunities and different products to sell, that kind of thing. It's at the very least, it's mostly like a psychological thing. If they're only down a little bit, again, it's just a psychological thing. I don't think it's going to have that much of an impact on the game, but it will definitely make them kind of rethink how they go through next year.
I wonder almost if, because we talk about CAG as a corporate entity, right? I wonder how we've never seen it. I wonder how CAG as that corporate entity will react, considering they're not a publisher, they're beholden to the backers, and they've got Chris Roberts at the helm. How much choice does Chris Roberts have in how they react to this? What kind of a say does he have? Because I feel like Chris Roberts as a person would be okay. We still made X million dollars this year. We're looking good. We're going to kind of we're going to keep going. We're going to stay the course. How many of those corporate people are going to kind of freak out at that at a possible like funding drop, right? And whose say is going to be the loudest? I feel like that's a question that we've never been. CAG's never been put in a scenario where that's been tested before.
Yeah. I think a big component of that though, even that is going to be like why, because then if they understand the why and there's a consensus that if Chris doesn't have to push back or fight against other people because there's a consensus that it happened for X reason and here's how we're going to deal with it, then that kind of changes the guidance a little bit. But yeah,
there's a lot of evidence. A lot of like variance. I don't think CIG is going to I don't think that the funding is going to be that much belower than last year, because the other big elephant in the room is 4.0. I think when 4.0 comes out, CIG is going to just attract a bunch of new players. So if they are able to hit it at the right time in the right way and not completely turn it into a dumpster fire, I think CIG ends up with a huge boost in sales at the end of 4.0 into or the end of the year and going into next year, which will then send them higher in terms of like ending the year on a higher note. But it really, it really is an issue. And Gin Tonic does bring up like 2017 was nominally less than 2018. I believe 2016 was super low in comparison to 2015 as well. There was some year that they dipped below. But also Star Citizen and CIG was a very different company in 2015, 2016 than it is today. It was half the size. It was still very mom and pop, sort of scrappy startup. So that wasn't a huge issue. But they also did change things around after they dipped down a little bit. They changed how they communicated with backers. They changed their release structure entirely. I believe that was also the year that they introduced staggered development, because it was clear that there were some things that they were doing changing. It may have been because they didn't make as much money. It may have been entirely isolated from that. But
well, not to belabor this subject too much, but one of the things that I find really interesting is that the number of new players is down.
Yes,
this year dramatically, and there seems to be like this direct delayed correlation between the number of new people and the amount of money being spent.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not sure what the driving factor is for that, because
it's 318.
they're not really doing any user acquisition advertising.
No.
They're not doing any ads to directly get new players. Direct advertisements. They're just kind of relying on word of mouth type stuff. So why did it drop off so much? And then how would you compensate for it if it is dropping off like that?
That's a really good point. I almost wonder if CIG's reaction to a drop in funding wouldn't be so much to just, all right, we got to lay people off. I wonder if marketing would double down on, now we're getting mainstream ads. Now we're trying to draw in new players. They obviously haven't felt the need to do that yet, but it's something they could definitely do.
They would need to improve their new player experience before they're doing that, though. I think that would be.
I think they've been doing that. Yeah,
I mean, dramatically.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I wonder if we'd see a shift in that, if the next couple patches might be less focused on features, more focused on stability and new player experience. And then I feel like we would definitely see a shift in the climate, but I don't think it would jump straight to layoffs. I feel like that's kind of cart before the horse for a possibility, but we would definitely see it. I feel like just at this point, this year may pass last year once we get, we haven't hit RSI day. How many people are buying Polaris as an RSI day?
Right.
And how many people are going to go double their, their pledge contribution once 4.0 comes out?
I hope it
let's
does.
see.
I hope it blows through.
And it very well might, if it is under and it's only by, $500,000 or something like that, $250,000, they may not do anything. They may just say, hey, ebbs and flows, whatever.
Well, here's another point that you kind of, to expand on something you said about the new player experience. They made a point to talk about the new narrative story that they're planning on having in place for 1.0. If they've actually started development on that now, if they've started the lore for it and the narrative for it, if I were them and we had a minimally down year, you're right, I would double down and get that squared away and move full steam ahead on that to get it done, because once you have that in place, it does open up the ability to actually do that new player advertising, because then they have some place to go and some way to learn once they get into the game, rather than just relying on the guide system.
So I was told by Jin. Jin was saying that the year on year is the same. Actually, it's not. Based off of the CCU game tracker, it looks like Star Citizen, in terms of total numbers, is at about 405,000 new citizens, compared to last year's 76,000 new citizens. Now, that is also completely different from 2022. 2022 had the all-time high of 871,922 citizens added to, backers added, well, at least new accounts added. New accounts don't always correlate with new people buying in either. So we've seen a lower number of new content or new stuff coming in. And you see the same thing happen between 2016 and 2017, where there's a dramatic drop off, like about half of the new people. So yeah, between 2016 and 2017, there was a huge drop. And that's because 2016 was kind of a flop. And I will say that 2024 does feel like 2016, where I think 2016 or 2015 was one of those 2 years was the year that they kind of like the year without a patch, the year with like one patch. I think that was 2016. I may be wrong on that one. But I think it was 2015 that was the year without a patch. And then 2016 was the first year for 3.0. And then they ended the year with that, with the stinker, and everyone was preparing the live stream, and that was the year they were supposed to release Squadron 42, and then it didn't, and then you see a sudden just drop off. Like they really mishandled that announcement, because they didn't even announce, didn't talk about why it wasn't released. They just didn't say anything, and you saw a drop off down from 2016 to 2017, and then it kind of popped back down again. I think the pledge was down as well from 2017, and then it went back up the year afterwards, because I think they adjusted for that. So that's what this feels like again. I would say this is a 2017 year, where there was a big hype last year, and now suddenly pops back down.
I think we're beginning. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go
ahead.
I think we're about to crest a hill with 4.0. We've been talking about for years of once server meshing's out, the floodgates will open. That's the major bottleneck, last major tech pillar. Once that comes out, 2025 is going to be either huge or severely disappointing. I don't think it's going to be anything in between. That's where we're really going to see is all this work paying off.
Yeah, I will say that there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This year was disappointing. Compared to last year, and even last year was a pretty low year, though there was improvements here and there. I think 2018 really soured last year, and I think this year the whole missing the target by 2 quarters for a release for 4.0 was another big one. So, all right, moving on to the next question. Luke's Adventures asks, question: do you know when the Pioneer goes on sale? It seems like you got to be ready for this stuff. You do have to be ready. Yes. Let me look up the IAE 2954 Q&A. Look that up. FAQ, here we go. So, where are the limited sales? Okay, so the Pioneer is going to be sold in 3 waves. The first wave is going to happen at 8 a.m. Pacific, and then the second wave is at 4 p.m. Pacific, and the last one is at 12 a.m. Pacific. So Consolidated Outland. So the Pioneer is going to be sold at 8 a.m. on the 27th, 4 p.m. at the 27th, and then 12 a.m. on the 28th. So.
Do we dare to say that how well the Pioneer sells is going to be like a bellwether?
I do think so.
As to how, yeah, okay. It'll certainly be a big indicator if it sells like hotcakes as to how much people are interested in.
Wave two of the Idris and the Javelin are going to be sold here in about an hour or so. It's 4 p.m. So it's 4 p.m. right now my time. So it's another 2 hours. So like 2 hours or so, 2 or 3 hours is where we're going to see that. So that'll be another indicator. How long does those stay up and how many of those are sold? So
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, check that out. Next question comes from Gin and Tonic, who asks, at IAE, I've tended to see what all comes out to make single purchases near the end of the show. How common do you think that is? And do you expect to see funding spike towards the end of the show? Yes, 100% funding is going to go up just because of the concept ship with the whatever the Anvil's coming out.
That's like standard practice. Yeah. Have the big reveal on the last day.
Plus CCU chaining happens all the time. That is very typical. It's very common actually, where you'll see the funding kind of go boo right at the end because like people have sat with the things for a while and they figure out what the CCU chains are and then they just drop it and go up. So, or if it doesn't go up, it usually spikes at the last day and then sort of stays at that height for the next couple of days before the end. All right, next question comes from Gin and Tonic, who asks, "I'm doing the Academy and I'm not a new player. Couldn't an additional reason for it to be to keep engagement up throughout IAE? 100%, and that's a good idea. But I think if CIG is going to do an engagement, they should do something that's not called the Academy."
Yeah, it's a very clearly new focused player thing. And I'm glad we can do it as existing players, but I mean, it's a set of armor that we've been able to buy in game for ever. And it's not of stuff that like really matters to us people who are
it's not the Vandal helmet,
right. But it definitely gives people a reason to do something. They just want another like bar of stuff on their hanger, which I mean, I'll probably do it for that reason.
All right. Captain Roleveld asks, as per the Spectrum page, if done anything since 3.24, it should be tracked, but nothing, not even my visit to IAE is showing. Mine was showing when I went to the page recently because this is like IAE tourist. So I think it's spotty. Kind of checking up on it.
I looked at mine and I didn't see it either. So maybe it is just a little delayed or something for some people.
Dow the Gamer asks, please speculate a bit on the 2 pictures of the Paladin that were hidden yesterday. I dare to dream. I'm going to say the most unhinged thing that you're going to hear. I'm going to make a prediction that is going to be entirely wrong, but it is. I'm going to make an educated wish, as Deadpool says. I'm going to say it's a mech dropship. Not like a battle mech, but a Titan suit dropship.
Somebody's got wishful thinking.
Yes. Well, Titan suits need to be transported somehow, and there is no dedicated ship for transporting Titan suit combat vessels. So if it's going to be sort of like a up-armored, sort of fat Valkyrie, like as a kind of a gunship dropship combo, sort of competing with the.
I mean, it would certainly be a money printer.
Yes, I would take the whole stock if you gave that to me. If you're like this thing is specifically designed to transport Titan suits. I'm buying it. We haven't even told you the price. I don't care.
Is it solely wishful thinking, or do you have some insight as to why you think it might be?
Do you want to hear the actual story, which is actually really funny? X had a dream last night. I'm not even joking. Execute had a dream last night about him in a Titan suit. And he began to say, he's like, what if the Paladin is a Titan suit transport? And I'm like, dude, I am not a Jungian believer in the collective consciousness, but I am becoming a believer. Please, I will put that out in the universe. Please have it come out.
Well, let me ask you a question though. Really, what is the big draw with the mech suit? Because isn't everybody just gonna like run around everywhere in a mech suit, and we're not gonna bother with armor anymore?
It's cool. Well, the thing is it uses resources, so it's like a miniature. Like the Atlas doesn't use resources right now, but eventually it will.
Okay.
And they're slow. Yeah, they're very slow.
Yeah, I expect it to be sort of fast and maybe fast in short bursts, but it's also a big target. It's cool though. It's the rule of cool.
Like I was trying to think like the balance part of it. Like if you're in a mech suit, I guess that's the point. If it's really a big target and you could take it out and disable it, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think I might actually one up you with crazy ideas.
Okay.
Which is, what if it's a mech suit transport dropship, and they also surprise drop the Titan suit with it?
That's
just like crazy ideas. No backup for that going to happen. But like, what if they did that? And for balance, that's a fantastic question. I've thought about it a lot. How long does it take to turn around in an Atlas?
Yeah,
it takes a very long time. Like if you're in light or medium armor, you can just run circles around it easy. And also there's going to be that guy in the corner with a rocket launcher who's going to just blow you up because you can't see him or do anything about it. I don't think balance is that big of a problem. They have to be careful, but I don't think it's like, Jesus Christ, it's going to be a horrible experience no matter what. But I just there's like that 1% chance that it's a mech suit dropship, but also, what if they spit out the Titan suit at the same time?
Well, the thing that makes me go maybe is because they did do a big dive into the files when 4.0 was first released, and there were in the files Titan suit and full level, like melee stuff. It was like a full like setup, and this was after the ATLS had already been released and announced. So it was like, okay. So it was either files that were left over because of Squadron 42 or because they were planning on releasing it in the future. This was the same file dump that had a bunch of the other stuff that's come out since then, like the Starfarer and stuff like that. So, so yeah, I don't know.
I was the one who broke that mech suit thing, by the way, years ago. Back in 2017, we did an interview. Part of the collaboration that we did an interview with a bunch of CIG people in 2017, and the camera guy was going around the development room, and he managed to sneak a picture. It was like really off in the distance, but somebody managed to zoom in on the video and saw the mech picture there. And started sharing it around Reddit.
That's it's been since leaked, and they showed off a bunch more things and talked about it. It's clear that the Titan suit is a Squadron 42 asset. It is something they developed for Squadron 42. It's a clear homage to like the aliens power loader stuff. I'm sure that's what the ATLS was originally released as well.
Yeah. So you saw the ads for it. It's so clearly inspired. But
that's a big no-brainer Easter egg.
So yeah, we'll see. I am just a mech apologist. Whenever a mech or power armor is introduced into or is possible, I think no game is made worse by the addition of power armor or mechs.
Before people call me full of like copium and hopium, I don't actually think they're gonna release the Titan suit. No. I just like Astro is like, well, here's the crazy idea, and I'm like, listen,
I looked into the spectral realm, and my new type abilities have awakened, and this is what the universe is telling me. Okay, that's what I'm saying.
I'm attuned to Execute's dream.
Yes.
I have zero imagination on this and trying to figure out what it was because I saw the picture of it and I couldn't figure it out. But I will say this. There is an air of credibility to your suggestion of having a mech drop carrier, because if it's just a regular, boring, plain old combat ship, it's not really probably going to get a lot of attention unless it does something really cool. Like even what's the mining ship? The
Rastra?
The Nautilus.
The Nautilus, yeah.
The mine laying ship. Sorry. Even that
the other mining ship.
Yeah, right. There was enough uniqueness about that it really got people like, wow, there's gonna be mines, in the game, and I think it sold pretty well. If it's just another combat ship that doesn't have anything unique to stand out, it's not gonna. Why would you bother to make that the concept ship? So maybe it does have something that's really stand out that will really make people's jaw drop and make them want to drop the money for it. Who knows?
ODST drop pods.
It might also, yeah. I mean, that was the other thing is if you get some hell pods in there for you know, that's another money printer. The only other thing I would say is if it was big enough to carry a tank. So if it was like a drop ship that was like a fat Valkyrie, so it was big enough and wide enough to be able to carry like a Nova or a Storm, you know.
Yeah.
All right. Next question comes from Dow the Gamer. By the way, all of this is speculation. Absolutely none of us know a damn thing of what it is. All we know is that it's an anvil ship. You know, that's all we know.
Yep.
Because they always have a concept ship on the last day of the sale, and the last day of the sale is anvil, so it was always going to be that. Okay, yeah. Dow the Gamer asks, please speculate a bit on the 2 pictures of the Paladin that were hidden in yesterday's video. We already answered that one. So, I think I literally answered that. All right. So, Gin Tonic asks, wouldn't the IAE Academy be better implemented as an extended tutorial with a lot of tutorial missions that could be done on demand in any order? That would provide some hand holding through the various profession mission types. Yes, I think we already said that, but 100%. This is a good one. Tagram Unlimited asks, do you think CIG will ever change the $45 starter pack will CIG ever change the $45 starter pack all in one package that then starts a quest in a game that gives you all the start ship access? Takes you through all loops, allowing you to try each ship with a final that makes you choose your final start ship binding to your account. No. That's more of like a traditional game style where like you buy the game and then the game lets you choose your starting ship. I don't think that'll ever be. That's not how CIG's building them. So
yeah, they'd probably rather have you find out that you got the wrong one and then want you to buy the next one. No offense.
I do hope that they consolidate all of the packages into simple $60, $80, $120, and like that's like. They just say package, a starter package, $60. You get the Mustang, the Aurora, you go. And then the $80 is like the Titan, the Intrepid, the Cutter, all the different Cutters, all the different, the Reliance and so on and so forth. Like the all the 300 series. That's sort of like, this is you pick, just pick, you know. And then the 120 is like the Cutlass and the Freelancer or that sort of range. But I live in hope. All right, next question comes from Captain Rolevid again, who asks, any idea when we'll see the Hull B and Odyssey? Probably when they start focusing on the whole on the MISC series, which will probably be starting next year. Though I don't think we'll see either of those next year.
No,
you don't think so?
Well, they didn't. They showed off the slideshow, and we didn't see anything like those two in the slideshow.
That's true. Well, maybe they just didn't include it because it's already old hat. People already know about it, and they want to focus on newer stuff. Yeah. I don't know. You're right. The thing is, that's the one that's just you can produce quantum, but only for your own ship, right? The Odyssey.
Yep.
What else does it do?
It's an explorer. It has a hangar, so you can have a small fighter or small ship in it.
Okay.
Think of it as it's a civilian Polaris.
You might be right because there might not be enough of a draw to kind of focus on that yet. I could see that when they had more systems available, just so we would kind of go roaming around and stuff. But you know what? Maybe I'm talking out my ass here because if it was useful for kind of doing exploring of existing solar systems to find resources to mine, then maybe there could be a rationale behind wanting it in game. And it is a MISC ship, so if they're going to focus on MISC stuff next year, it would certainly make sense to kind of crank it out.
I think it'll be. I don't think it'll be. I think it'll start work next year, probably. But I do think that the Star Lancer is the preview to that. So I think that the BLD will probably come out before the Odyssey does.
I hope so.
Yeah.
That should be less work, just because they got so much of it done on the Max. I don't know if the exterior is so dramatically different.
All right. Gin and Tonic asks, should they kill the Dragonfly Bay on the Kraken? No. He asks, if not, why not? Because it's already there. Why not?
I want to put an X1 in there.
because it's
Just
not
because it's funny.
it's not just a Dragonfly bay. It's just a small, like an extra small bay. It's like a size 1 hangar, because now CIG is doing this is like size 1 through 6. It's just a size 1 hangar, so it should also be able to fit any of the smaller hover vehicles as well. So why not?
Yeah.
Glass Sword asks, question: I'm worried about an unannounced Pioneer price increase because we just had an unannounced price increase with Saber for $5. Do you think this will cause another wave of backlash? I mean, this is Star Citizen. CIG sneezes wrong, and there's going to be backlash. But almost certainly there's going to be a price increase.
Absolutely.
They
was reconcepted entirely. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's now a capital ship, so it's going up in price. Like, I will say, so should CIG talk about this? Yes, they should have talked about it before the sale. Will they not? Probably not. Will there be a backlash? Yes. Will it be justified? Probably. But will it change anything? No.
You just copy paste that answer for like 80% of complaints for Star Citizen. Yeah, pretty much fits.
Yep. It's stupid. Yeah, so is the front of the Caterpillar, but we still have the front of the Caterpillar. It's also technically a Dragonfly bay. So,
nobody uses it for that.
Question. A Fluffy Cadaver asks, question: when do you think we will hear and or see anything about the Liberator? A long time.
That's one of those ships that's coming later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a feeling
there wasn't one of the ones that was showing. There was some rumor that one of the silhouettes that they showed at CitizenCon kind of looked a little bit like the Liberator.
The Ironclad, I think a lot of people are confusing
Ironclad
for the Liberator. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Okay.
And they even said that Drake was the next fit focus. I think once Drake and Misk are burned down a little bit, and it's also important to keep into context. Y'all, CIG has what was 2 years ago had 25 ship team members. This year they have over 50.
Smart.
They have 53.
That's the biggest moneymaker.
They have doubled their ship team in 2 years, which means that they have a lot more resources now than they did in the past, which at least seems to indicate that they're likely going to ramp up on ship production. And that's what it seems like, but from what they showed off, how many big ships they showed off at this CitizenCon. And we've also seen a lot of new ships, big ships that have been kind of slipped in here and there. So I wouldn't be surprised if next year they go through RSI and start working through the backlog of Drake and Misk. By middle 2026, they're completely done with RSI, and you're done with Drake and Misk and start working on the on Anvil. So like we could see a much faster turnaround going forward with ships because CIG will have most of this stuff done. So
yeah.
But yeah, there's no clue about the Liberator. Coffee Gaming asks, does the focus on Misk next mean the Endeavor? Coffee.
No.
Coffee. I am the high priest of the cult of the Endeavor, and I don't even believe that they're going to start working on the Endeavor. Whenever you bring that up with a CIG developer, they roll their eyes and go, it's a colony ship. It's the Star Citizen ship. It might as well just be named the Misk Star Citizen because it's literally going to be doing everything in the game that you can do, and almost certainly will. So I don't think it's coming out even with 1.0. So
be like 1.13 or something.
Yeah,
we might see it.
It's going to be
long ways away.
Yeah, it's going to be the Star Citizen 2.0. Ship reveal. So
I like the joke
shade
that it's
of a
the
tree
last
that I will
Star
not.
Citizen ship.
I think it's the shade of a tree that I will not enjoy.
But you can get it for you can get $10 to lock it in at $350 right now because that thing is going to be expensive. It's going to have it's a Banu Merchantman increase. That thing's going to end up being $800. So
yeah, I've told a couple people if you want to invest in something in Star Citizen, it's the Endeavor.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
Like if you want to never ever see it but have it just increase in value, that's it.
Yeah, it does salvaging. It does combat. It has combat weapons. It has weapons, but it probably will be able to do salvaging by the time it's actually released because half the things it was built with the modules aren't really even gameplay aspects anymore. Like,
They got the hospital stuff and the hangar, and
yeah. So
the farming
Is
is
it-
obviously ways off.
yeah,
Is it
$800 for
ever-
that modules.
Is it a capital ship officially?
No, it's
All
still
right.
it's still not like if you look at the actual size, its size is a little bit bigger than the 600i.
I'm willing to bet it's going to be a capital class.
It has
when
to.
comes
Yeah,
out.
it's gotta
It's
be.
going to be $1,000 or more.
Yes,
Like
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah, you might as well make it worth it if you're gonna actually finally build it.
it's gonna probably be the size of a Javelin, just because of
Yeah.
how many things they need to get done with it. Like
Yeah.
effectively, that hangar is almost certainly going to have to be the size big enough to hold a Apollo, which is the size of almost a Connie. So you're going to have a massive, like you're gonna have a
huge.
hangar module that's bigger than the Javelin or than the Idris. Like it's bigger
Bengal
than the
competitor.
Idris and stuff. Yeah, it's a colony ship. It's going to be the Star Citizen colony ship.
Yeah.
So, but that said, it's if you purchase it, it is one of those like if you're in your 20s, you'll be able to enjoy it when you retire. Captain Revolve asks, guess on when the update to the 600i refit. Probably the same time as we see the Liberator being worked on. Might be my guess. So 2-3 years. So
Yeah.
Didn't they already start on the 600i rework?
they did, and they stopped working on it. So it's one of those start and stop things.
It's gone the way of the merchantman.
They reconcepted it,
Mm.
but then they paused it because I think the team that was working on it left. So
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Gin and Tonic asks, does the refresh on the Carrack include the antennas? No. Apparently it's not yet, at least. It's just the doors and the shield right now. Apparently there's more to it than just those though. Steve That Answer asks, do you feel the Intrepid was priced correctly? No. What do you think the Intrepid was a smuggler ship? What would you think if the Intrepid was a smuggling ship with its shielded cargo? Yes. I think the ship itself is priced fine. The $60 to $65, that's perfect. It's fine for what it is. But the starter package is wrong. That's my thing.
I'm almost willing to bet someone's had that idea, and it'll probably have a smuggling variant later. Like same thing, but maybe like 6 SCU instead of 8, and it's got a shield in there, like shielded cargo.
I can see it doing it. So, I do think there'll be variants to it, like a bounty hunting variant with like more guns and a bespoke like distortion weapon. I could see a exploration variant or with like replacing the gun with like a bigger scanner, something like that. It's definitely built for variants.
Yeah.
But we already talked about the Intrepid to death. I think my biggest issue is its package price for what it does. But should the wings on the Aurora spread out like the Scorpius to make it a little omnithopper or whatever it is from Dune?
The ornithopter.
The ornithopter.
No, please no. God no.
I do think it should the Aurora should get a complete overhaul. I think it should be a top-down reconcept because it is the oldest ship in Star Citizen.
Aurora Mark II.
Not even an Aurora Mark II though, like an Aurora Mark II in the sense of like it's like everyone who has an Aurora gets the update. But
yeah,
I also think that is more of it needs to be done before 1.0. That's a 1.0 thing. Like you're getting done. We're finishing up with stuff at 1.0. Here is a complete overhaul of the Aurora with everything we've learned on the way up to 1.0, plus the Mustang same. Like there's just like a complete drill down, make sure it's really good.
I wonder if that's almost something they might wait until like a couple updates before like beta or something.
Yeah, that's what
to just go through and completely rework all of the starters to to that point of everything we've learned. Everything now gets this, and this, and they completely just do it all at once. Because if they did it now, they're going to do it again, right before 1.0, right? So I feel like they're just waiting. We all know it needs to happen, but I think they're waiting for that.
Yeah, I think this just makes more sense to use it then. What do you consider the best jack of all trades solo ship? The fucking Cutlass.
Yeah,
that is not even a question. The Cutlass is the best jack of all trades solo ship. There's nothing like it.
Yeah,
It's got better cargo than the Nomad. It has more guns than the Nomad. It still has the best options for like multi-crew. It's so good to get in and out of. It can be a miner. You can put a rock in it. The only thing it lacks is salvage, but it's still got, plenty of space. Like, I don't think that is, I think that's probably as close to an objective fact about Star Citizen as you can right now, which is the Cutlass is the best solo ship, Jack of all trades solo ship. The Max is fine. But the Max doesn't have nearly the maneuverability or the combat power of the Cutlass, and it's much more expensive than the Cutlass.
Does he mean Freelancer Max?
Yeah, the Freelancer Max. Yeah. Then you gotta be special, like specific now there, Jim. Yeah. You can't just say the Max.
Right. Yeah.
Miss Freelancer is just the Cutlass, except it doesn't smell like vegetable oil and it's better.
No, that's the C1.
The Freelancer is good. The problem with the Freelancer is that its interior is awful and it's got a lot of wasted space. I think once the Freelancer gets a full interior overhaul and kind of brings it back up to the standard of other ships, I think then it'll have a good fight for best all-rounder. But until then, it's just kind of, yeah.
I suggest the C1 for people who want the Cutlass but less Drake.
Yeah, that's true.
And the C1 is the C1 and the Cutlass kind of sit right there as the best solo ship. But obviously the Cutlass has better combat potential than the C1 does.
The Cutlass
C1 has slightly better cargo.
Y'all are thinking the interior of the Cutlass is worse than the Freelancer? It's the interior of the Cutlass works.
Yeah.
You can't even access the storage compartments in the Freelancer. Yeah. Like the only things that work on the Freelancer is getting the components. That's the only thing it has over the Drake, because the Cutlass doesn't have a component base in it yet. But
Cutlass has an engineering terminal in it.
Yeah. It has internal storage. It has a gun rack that the Freelancer doesn't have. It has 2 beds, that don't kill you, don't break when you try to get inside. Because if you try to get inside a Freelancer, it'll literally hard lock your game or hard lock you, trap you in there. You can't get out. Y'all really think the Freelancer interior is better than the Cutlass? What? Are y'all high? I think that arguably the C1 is better interior than the Cutlass because it's newer and better. But
yeah.
All right. What do you consider? Okay, all right, let's double check that. Glassword asks, question: Mecha dropship equals Anvil Paladin? Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Question: do you think we have a concept ship sales? Do you think we will have concept sales tomorrow for the Misk Mirai Day for the Guardian Fortune? Maybe Guardian.
Straight to flyable.
It may be straight to flyable. It also may be one of those we're selling it and releasing it in 4.0 ships.
Yeah.
So
that's a good possibility.
I think the Misk Fortune was a red herring. I hope not, because I love that naming convention. But I think that was a Misk Raptor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Misk Fortune could be a mining mecha.
Yeah, could be. I think the Misk Fortune, in my opinion, would make sense as a salvage. As just take the Pioneer, but make it a salvage ship. So, all right, we've got a couple more questions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more questions left, and we've been going for
adding more. Don't count them.
Well, we've been going for 45 minutes, so it's pretty good. We'll probably hit over an hour. Gin and Tonic asks, since the IAE color is purple, why is the accent color in IAE Academy armor red?
Because they have the armor made already.
Yeah, there was no existing purple armor that fit what they wanted.
Yeah.
There's no purple armor color for the Mark 10.
There is no purple. There is Imperial, which is a purple color, but the Imperial armor doesn't. Oh, they only have the arms, the chest, and the legs. They don't have the helmet as the Imperial color because for some fucking reason, the armor sets don't have the same color on all of their sets. There's usually one missing and somewhere in the set, if at all. So.
I might go with the meta answer that the Orc Mark 10 Singularity color is probably the armor set that I see people wearing more than any other in the verse.
That could be it too.
So they wanted to pick the one that people go, ooh, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
As if they made it like a random color, they wouldn't do that as much.
yeah, they probably pulled out their metrics and said this is the most popular armor. Let's just give it to them. And then
I have a feeling that's it. Yeah.
P4AR was also probably the most popular rifle. Surprising with the L86. I don't know if the L86 is the most popular pistol, but L86 also got a huge work with the L86. It's clear that because they were constantly using the L86 in the Squadron 42 demo stuff, it was almost
now that
always
it's full
there.
auto.
Yeah.
Now that it's full auto, I wonder if it's getting used more. I don't use pistols very much.
Yeah.
But I run around with only pistols a lot of times, but then I just don't do combat.
I'm mad that everyone's mad at the purple. Like I love purple. Purple is one of my colors. Like it is the thing that I like. And CIG is like running purple into the ground, and so everyone's mad.
Yeah, they're ruining purple because purple's a great color. It's bad. It's all bad.
Yeah. Just pick another pet color. Pick red.
Mm-hmm. Ruin green, please.
Yes.
I like blue.
Make it yellow and ugly.
Yellow. I've never seen I have never seen a good shade of yellow.
Leave purple alone. Yeah.
White. Make it pure white. All right. Do older ships go on sale like the Corsair or Rock? Yes. All of the ships that are even ships that are not currently available in game are available, and all ships that are available in game are available. The only ones they won't sell are the unique ships like the Vandal Scythe, the Saber Raven, and the Mustang Omega are the only ones that you won't sell. But everything else is going to be for sale at some point. Massive was saying, great question to Delados, but I didn't see what was Delados's question. Massive. They didn't put question in front of it.
Know.
That's how you don't get your question answered. Shogi asks, Chairman's Club should have received more prizes, and when we will be able to access physical club in game. For now, we just kiss the door.
Yeah, I would like to see that.
Yeah, that's probably important. I don't know.
They've kind of dialed.
Go ahead.
Sorry. They've dialed back on Chairman's Club and concierge benefits as a whole lately. Because I hit concierge at Invictus when I bought a Firebird, and I've followed this game since Kickstarter, been playing since 2018. I finally had concierge, and I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
And they need to do more stuff. It's been kind of the same for a very long time for as far as like benefits go. They haven't changed it in a long time.
I think they reemphasize subscribers over concierge because they can get reoccurring revenue with subscribers that they can't get with concierge. So
I mean, you get some cool things when you hit $1,000 for base concierge, because you get the game tied to your account. You get a couple other little things, and then another $1,500 and you get a gold sniper rifle.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, really? I like time and a half my investment into this game and I get that? Like, you have to spend like 15 grand or something to get the gold F8, and like that's cool, but it's pretty much like all the way to like 10, 15 times your investment before the next like good thing that you get.
Yeah. I do think that they having the access to the Chairman's Club would be nice, but they also need to rework the Chairman's Club because it's currently old. So Cosadia asks, question: if they let you help design the Titan suit, but you knew it wouldn't be released for 2 years, would you do it? No. Don't ask me to design a Titan suit, because if they ask me to design a Titan suit, I'd be like, cool, battle mech. And then,
I just take like the javelins from Anthem and just take this, CIGify it, and then send it.
Titans from Titanfall. Go.
Yeah.
Give me those
just
Titans.
That, but smaller.
Yeah. I mean, not even. I want it. That's
just straight up the Titans.
Just give me the Titans from Titanfall. Give me BT from Titanfall. The Monarch. Yeah. You know, there we go. We're done, CIG. I do think that if CIG were like I could. That's another reason why I think the Paladin might be a mech drop ship, because I could totally see CIG making a Titanfall joke. You know, prepare for Titanfall. You know,
you know, if that's a Titan drop ship, the pilot, before they hit that drop button, they have it's like a legal requirement. You have to say prepare for Titanfall.
Yeah,
and then, like it's a requirement. There's no way around it. If you don't do it, you get blown up. It's just, you know, the ship self-destructs. It detects whether
you did not say the sacred words. The machine spirit is mad at you now. Titan's drop, not Titanfall. That's probably trademark. Yeah, Titan. Prepare for Titan drop. You know,
Titan drop. Yeah, there you go. Prepare for fall of the Titan.
Okay. Strategic Vex asks, for people on a budget, if you had to recommend a single ship that gives players the most gameplay loops and provides the best versatility, what would you recommend?
The Taurus is not too bad. Taurus. Wait. No. Which one's the
on
one
a budget?
On a budget.
Oh well, Cuddy Black.
Avenger and then Cuddy.
Yeah. Depends on your budget. If your budget is less than $100, Avenger Titan. If you're feeling nasty, the 315p, but because it's got a higher cargo count and it's got an interior, it's the only thing that's lacks.
And a tractor beam too, right?
And a tractor beam. The only thing it lacks is firepower comparative to the Titan, but
it's still more firepower than the Intrepid.
Yep, that's true. Two size 2s, so yeah, it's about the same, but also tractor beam.
Yeah.
The Titan, and then the cutter or the Cutlass. The cutter is okay, but the cutter is like kind of like each cutter has a very specific role, which is nice.
Yeah.
But not really versatile. All right. Next question comes from Angel Wolf NS, who asks, what would the lore reason, I guess this is for me then, be for the medical terrapin not having a gun rack or suit locker? It's supposed to be for combat zones and not being able to fly with armor or weapons in the future. How will this work? There is a airlock between the pilot and the back area. And also you will still be able to fly with armor, just only light armor or flight suits. So there's no reason to have a suit locker when you're going to be wearing the suits when you're in the ship. So yeah, the lore reason is it's not designed for that sort of long-range rescue. If you want that sort of long-range rescue, you deal with an Apollo. It's designed as a under fire, get somebody who's ejected and get them in sort of situation. So yeah, the pilot doesn't get out of the ship. The person in the back will, and there's a seat, and that seat
got that little bolt-on drop seat.
Yeah. That drop seat is big enough to fit a suit, like somebody in a suit. So. All right. Danny 1988-221 asks, saw a video of the new Mirai fighter coming out. Is it? We don't know. There was a sneak peek with it in the background. So, we know it's called the Guardian. We know that they wanted to release it this year. So it's almost certain coming out. Is it coming out this year? Or is it coming out with IAE? Probably. Could also come out with 4.0. We don't know what. So, all right, last one. I'm going to start with you on this one there, Andy. Lady Space Patrol asks, with changes like engineering coming in 2025, do you think all ships will have an update? Example, 600i doesn't have a cargo hold, doesn't have components, and doesn't have storage.
I think they wanted to do a gold pass for all the ships. But I would imagine, they're going to have to do something for these ships that don't have any engineering. That would be a little weird, I think, wouldn't it? If you had a 600i that had no engineering gameplay on it.
Yeah.
Well, didn't they say... They said a long time ago, kind of when the scope of engineering was a little bit smaller, that not every ship would have engineering gameplay day one.
Yeah. That's correct.
And that they might kind of go for those ships. They might go the same way that like single seat fighters will go, where you have an MFD screen where you can do a little bit of the engineering stuff, not like a full fledged terminal, but a little bit. And
doesn't the S600i have component slots? I remember there being a bay specifically near like the crew area in the bottom with like near the like where all of the crew sleep and stuff like that. One of those had a bunch of like component slot areas. I may be wrong with
Yeah.
that.
Been so long since I've been in one.
It does have slots, but it doesn't have all of them. I think that tells you what slots you see will be the ones that they actually have functioning, because I
mean, they could pull a fast one since they delayed engineering. They could take that time and
to improve it,
pass through everything. Yeah,
I doubt the teams that are updating the ships are just sitting there waiting for 4.0 to release.
Right. That could be a reason, not the reason that they pushed engineering, but that could be a reason, part of the contributing factors. I'm sure there were many reasons they pushed engineering from 4.0, but that could have been one of them.
I think the biggest reason is they just didn't have enough time to test it for proper release. So, and we know that CIG doesn't stop working, so it's probably they're still updating stuff as we go. We may even see some updates of 4.0 that would specifically link to the 600i having those issues. But that's the last question. Thank you. Almost an hour on the dot. Thank you so much to Cepheus and Radar Ranger for joining us for this discussion on IAE, the beginnings of IAE, if I can say that right. Just as a reminder, make sure you subscribe to the Captain's Table podcast on YouTube, because that's where this will be living in the future, if you haven't already done so. If you did enjoy this, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe for more content, hit the bell icon to be notified when there's a release. And if you have any comments or questions yourself, leave them in the comments below. I do try to read all of them if I can, so try to keep it civil. And I'd love to have you join us live at twitch.tv/TheAstroPub, youtube.com/TheAstroPubLive on Saturdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Come on down and join the rest of these folks talking about Star Citizen. Thank you for joining us, and like I always say, hope to see you someday in the black.